My son's name was Kenneth Maxwell, and he was my baby boy out of 5 children.
Fire department?
Yes, I can see a fire in a window of a house. It's 502 South Yorktown.
Is that the address of the house?
Yes, I just pulled around fire. I mean, I can see the flame in the back of the house. I don't know if anybody's inside or away.
Is that Yorktown Avenue?
I think so.
Repeat the address for me.
We were getting ready to go to work because we had to be to work at 7 o'clock and at the fairgrounds. And we get this telephone call. And I was finishing up in the restroom getting ready for work. And my husband answered the telephone. And one of the friends of his friends called to tell us that our son had been killed at about 3:30 in the morning, and we didn't even know about it till 6 o'clock in the morning. And my husband kind of went to pieces. I was very stunned. I just couldn't even speak for a while. And they said, we've called, you need to come to the hospital to identify his dead body. I said, well, maybe it's just a mistake. It isn't Eric Kenneth. I know to God it's not Eric Kenneth. It can't be Eric Kenneth. But I kept telling myself that for the reason, thinking that maybe if I told myself that, we got there, I don't wish nobody dead, but I hoped, well, maybe it was a mistake and we would not have to go there and identify our son. But it was no mistake, it was him. And we went in there to the hospital, and Sergeant Hoffman, I believe it was, met us at the doorway there, and they had her son in a room back there in the back. And he told us who he was, and he says, I've set it up where the family members can go in there. And he said, first you and your husband have to go in there by yourself, and there was a police officer in there. And he says, you can't touch him. You have to look at him through the glass on the stretcher. We just need you to purposely identify him as that is your son. And of course, I'm old-fashioned. I wouldn't go there and touch him before he went to the funeral home because he wouldn't be so cold. I never thought I'd live to see the day that I would have to go to the hospital and identify your dead son's body laying on a stretcher behind a glass and say, yes, that's him, shot in the head. All the children were good, but he was a very good, he just was a special boy. He was just, he never met no strangers. It didn't matter what he thought he could help them to do. He would do it. He didn't matter what time or day if someone needed help. If he could do it, he'd be there and do it. I've always said that the kids are supposed to bury their parents, not the parents burying the children. But it's hurt all of us because he was very close to all his nieces and nephews. He was all the time doing things with them. Every night before he'd go to bed, I still listen for that telephone to ring. He'd call and he'd say, Mom, I'm back at my apartment. I just called to tell you and Dad good night. You and Dad okay? Okay, honey. It didn't matter if he was going to bed at 2, 3, whatever time of the morning. He said, I just want to let you know, Mom, I'm back to my apartment. I'm going to bed. You and Dad okay? Y'all doing okay? Is all my brothers and sisters okay? Yes, honey. Well, I just want to tell you I love you. Good night. And I mean, it never failed. And, oh, Lord, the first year or two, I just nearly come unglued, and so did his dad, I know, and all the nieces and nephews and his brothers and sisters. He just was very close to the family. It's really, and that's why every holiday I go out and decorate his grave, and sometimes his brothers and sisters will go with me, but me and Dad always go. I mean, I feel like I should do that, and maybe when I die they may not do it, but I'll do it till I die because it just makes me feel better. Best I remember, I think it took a couple of months for them to completely arrest him, and then, Lord, we didn't get him completely convicted for all 3 murders until we was in court, probably hearings one right after the court dates, and for it was probably almost 2 years or a year and a half after all three were murdered, our son and the Barneys, before he was legally convicted for all three murders, sentenced. I wanted to just, God forgive me, and I've never killed nothing in my life, and I don't think I could, but at that time I just wanted to get something, go there and blow his head off. But God forgive me, I know that I couldn't even kill a dog or a cat. I'm sure I couldn't kill a human, but I wanted to. It was so hard just to sit there or just get up and go there and just get right in his face and just tell him what a sorry blank blank he was. But you couldn't say nothing. Of course, you've got to sit there and be quiet and listen to the lawyers and the judges. I just don't understand why the man upstairs had to take him that quick, because he was only 24 years old. And he had his whole life ahead of him. And, of course, I guess he never knew what hit him. They said he went very fast. I don't guess he suffered. But still yet, I don't know why to this day that the man upstairs had to take him so quickly like that. He loved music. And I know he's up there with guardian angels playing heavenly music, looking down on all of us right now. He's gone, but his spirit's with us.